They say there was a man named Lu Buwei, a merchant, the most famous merchant in Chinese history. He looked at a forgotten prince in a foreign country and said, "This boy is a rare treasure worth investing in." But nobody asks who was the buyer, who was the person sitting behind the curtain, listening to the merchant's pitch, weighing every word, calculating every risk. Who was the one who said yes? That person was me. They say I changed the history of the Qin dynasty. Some say I changed the history of all of China, and they are right. But not because I was powerful, not because I was clever, because I was desperate. I had no children. In a world where a woman's worth was measured by the sons she produced, I had none. 0. And in the palace, a woman without a son is like water without a source. Like a tree without roots, it does not matter how beautiful the water is. Without a source, it dries up. It does not matter how tall the tree is. Without roots, it falls. I was that water. I was that tree. So I did what any woman in my position would do. I found a son. I chose him carefully. I raised him. I put him on the throne. And his grandson became the first emperor to unite all of China. My name is Huayang, Lady Huayang, Queen of King Shi Huang of Qin, adoptive mother of King Zhuangxiang, adoptive grandmother of Ying Zhen, the man the world calls Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. But before I was any of those things, I was just a girl from the state of Chu with a mission sewn into my marriage dress. I was born in the year 296 before the Common Era, in the state of Chu, one of the great kingdoms of ancient China. My family name was Mi in Chinese. We write it Mi, an old name, a noble name, a name that carried the weight of royalty. My ancestor was a man called Lord Huayang. He was part of the Mai clan that helped Queen Dowager Xuan rule the state of Qin decades before I was born. Queen Dowager Xuan, she was the most powerful woman of her time. She helped her son, King Zhaoxiang, control the throne. She kept the alliance between Qin and Chu strong. And she used the Mi clan, our clan, to do it. I grew up hearing her stories, how she played the game, how she moved people like pieces on a board, how she survived in a world run by men. My father used to say the marriages of my women are never personal matters, they are matters of state. So when the state of Qin sent gifts and asked for my hand to marry An Guozhong, the second son of King Zhaoxiang, I did not resist. Not for one moment I knew my mission. Continue the blood bond between Qin and Chu. Keep the Mi clan's seat at the table of power. I packed my things, I left my homeland. And I walked into the palace of Qin like a soldier walking into battle, smiling, calm, ready. When I arrived, An Guozhong was just an ordinary prince, not the heir, not anyone special. His household was full of wives and concubines, dozens of women, all competing for his attention, all fighting for their place. But I had something they did not. I had the pride of true nobility in my blood. I had been taught music, chess, calligraphy, and painting since I was a child. And most importantly, I had been taught how to read people. I knew when to be soft and when to be sharp. I knew when to sit quietly beside him while he handled household matters. I knew when to whisper a suggestion about court politics, just enough to make him think it was his own idea. The old Mi clan network that Queen Dowager Xuan had built was still there hidden, quiet like roots underground. Those roots paved my way. They opened doors I could not have opened alone. Soon I became his favorite. He built me a beautiful palace. He collected rare treasures for me. He asked my opinion on nearly everything. I stood on the covered walkway of my new palace, looking at the spring flowers in the garden, and I thought, this is enough. This love, this position, this life. I was wrong, because love without a sun is a house without a foundation, and foundations do not last forever. Years passed, beautiful years, comfortable years, years of silk and jade and the warmth of a man who adored me. But no child came. I tried everything. Prayers, medicines, rituals, nothing worked. My body simply would not give me what I needed most in the palace. There is a saying, mother is honored because of her son. That is the rule. That is the law of survival. If you have a son, you have a future. If you do not, you have nothing. I watched other women who had been favored once, women who were beautiful once. But when their beauty faded and they had no sun to protect them, they fell one by one, from silk robes to rough cotton, from feasts to cold rice, from the center of attention to the corner of a forgotten room. Some of them died alone in empty palaces with nobody to mourn them. That was my future. I could see it clearly, like looking down a road and seeing the cliff at the end. Every night I lay awake, staring at the moonlight on the ceiling, my mind racing, my heart pounding. Ang Guojun already had more than 20 sons by other women. 20 sons and I had none. His eldest, a boy named Zixi, was talented and ambitious. Many ministers supported him. If Ang Guojun ever became king, Zixi would likely become the next heir, and Zixi's mother would become the queen, not me. When that happened, I would lose everything. My palace, my title, my influence, my clan, everything I had built. Gone. I could not let that happen. I could not sit and wait for the tide to wash me away. I had to find a son. Not from my own body, that door was closed. But from somewhere else, I had to find a prince, one of Ang Guojun's many sons, and make him mine. Adopt him, raise him, bind him to me, and put him on the path to the throne. But who? Most of the princes already had powerful mothers. They did not need me. Others were too dull, too weak, too useless. I could not build a future on a broken foundation. I was stuck, trapped, running out of time. And then a merchant walked through my door. His name was Lu Buwei. He came from the state of Wei, a merchant, but not the kind who sells cloth in the market. He was the kind who trades in kingdoms. He came to me through my younger brother, Lord Yang Quan. A proper introduction, formal, respectful, calculated. The moment I saw Lu Buwei, I knew he was not ordinary. His clothes were expensive. His manners were polished. But what caught my attention was his eyes, sharp, calm, the eyes of a man who sees 10 moves ahead. He did not mention my problem directly. Not at first, that would have been rude. Instead, he brought gifts, a stunning collection of jade and treasures from my homeland Chu. Things I had not seen in years, the smell of the South, the colors of home. That small gesture bringing me things from Chu told me everything I needed to know about this man. He had done his research. He knew what I missed. He knew how to reach me. Then, after the gifts and the pleasantries, he began to speak, and every word was a needle pressing exactly where it hurt. "My lady," he said, "you are young and beautiful today. The prince adores you. But time does not stop for anyone. When beauty fades and love grows cold without a sun to lean on, what will become of you?" I kept my face still, but inside my heart was racing. He continued, "Why not use your power now while you still have it? Choose one of the prince's sons, a good one, a loyal one. Adopt him, make him the official heir. That way, even after the prince is gone, you will still have a throne to protect you, and the My clan will survive." I said nothing. I just listened, my face like a stone mask, but my mind was on fire. Then Lu Buwei played his final card. He told me about a boy, one of Ango Jun's sons, a forgotten boy sent away as a hostage to the state of Zhao, living in poverty, in danger, alone. His name was Yiren, Lu Buwei said. Yiren's mother, Lady Xia, has lost the prince's favor. The boy has no one to support him in Qin. He is intelligent, he is ambitious, and he is desperate. If you adopt him, he will be grateful to you for the rest of his life. He will depend on you completely. He will be your son in every way that matters. I looked at the portrait Lu Buwei brought me, a young man's face, thin, determined, the face of someone who has been hungry before. I already knew my answer, but I did not give it, not yet. I told him to leave. Let me think, because in this game, the one who answers too quickly always loses. That night I sat in my chamber and I thought, Yiren, a prince without power, a son without a mother's protection, stranded in a hostile country, no allies, no resources, no future. Perfect. If I adopted a prince who was already powerful, he would never truly need me. He would have his own people, his own plans. I would be decoration, a title on a piece of paper. But Yiren had nothing. If I pulled him out of the darkness, he would owe me everything. His freedom, his title, his throne, everything. He would not be a son. He would be a chess piece, my chess piece. On the board I was learning to control, and there was more supporting Yiren would solve 3 problems at once. It would give me a son, it would protect the Mi clan, and it would keep the connection between Qin and Chu alive because I would raise him as a Chu boy at heart. I called my brother Lord Yanquan. I told him everything. He agreed immediately. Zixi's mother has powerful allies, he said. If Zixi becomes heir, our family will be destroyed, but Yiren is alone. He is the perfect choice. My brother offered to help persuade Anguojun. I also asked my sister to drop hints in conversation, praising Yiren's character, mentioning how filial and talented he was. I was building a wall around Anguojun brick by brick, word by word, until the only path he could see was the one I had paved. When the groundwork was done, I made my move. One evening, alone with Anguojun, I leaned against him. I let my eyes fill with tears, real tears. I had saved them in Chinese. There is a beautiful phrase, tears like pear blossoms in the rain. That is how I looked that night, soft, fragile, beautiful in my sadness. I whispered, "My Lord, you have given me everything. Your love, your trust, your home, but I have failed you. I have not given you a child, and that guilt eats at me every day." He held me, he told me not to worry. He told me he would always love me. Then I continued, "I have heard that you have a son named Yiren, far away in Zhao, living as a hostage suffering. He is talented, they say, and filial. What if I could adopt him, make him my son, give him a home, and give myself someone to rely on when I am old?" Anguojun looked at me. He was not a complicated man. He loved me. He trusted me. My brother and sister had already planted the seeds. He felt sorry for Yiren, and he could not say no to a crying woman he adored. He agreed. Just like that, I wiped my tears. But inside, I was celebrating. I immediately suggested changing Yiren's name to Zichu. Zai means son, Chu means the state of Chu, my homeland. His new name would forever tie him to me, to my identity, to my power. Anguojun smiled and agreed. He even sent money and gifts to Yiren in Zhao, along with the news you have been adopted by Lady Huayang. You are now her son. That night, I stood on the walkway of my palace again, looking at the same garden, the same spring flowers. But everything had changed. I was no longer water without a source. I had found my river, and I would make sure it flowed all the way to the throne. Lu Bue was as good as his word. He spent a fortune. He bribed officials in Zhao. He found ways around the war between Qin and Zhao. And finally, he brought Zichu home. The first thing Zichu did when he returned to Qin was come to see me. He wore the Chu-style robes I had prepared for him, blue and green silk, the colors of the South, my colors. He knelt before me. He pressed his forehead to the floor, and he called me mother. I looked down at this young man, thin from years of hardship, but his back was straight, his voice was steady, his eyes were clear. I knew I had made the right choice. From that day, I taught him everything. How to walk in the palace, how to speak to officials, how to bow to the right person at the right time, how to survive in a court full of people who wanted him dead. I praised him in front of Anguojun. I told everyone who would listen, Zichu is brilliant. Zichu is loyal. Zichu is the son any father would be proud of. And Zichu played his part perfectly. He was obedient. He was respectful. He treated Anguojun with genuine affection. He treated me like a real mother. Within months, Anguojun was saying, "This boy is remarkable. I am glad Huayang chose him." My chess piece was in position. Now I just had to wait for the board to clear. But waiting was the hardest part, because King Zhaoxiang, Anguojun's father, simply would not die. He lived year after year after year after year, the longest ruling king in Qin's history. And with every year, Anguojun grew older, weaker, less certain. I prayed. Every night, I prayed for the old king to die. I prayed for Anguojun to survive long enough to take the throne. I prayed for my plan to work. It is a strange thing praying for death, but in the palace, survival and prayer often walk the same road. Finally, in the year 251 before the Common Era, King Zhaoxiang died after 56 years on the throne. Anguojun became king, King Shaowen of Qin. His very first act was to make me his queen. His second act was to name Zichu the crown prince, the heir to the throne. I stood at the coronation ceremony, wearing the queen's ceremonial robes heavy, golden, watching 100 officials bow before me. I should have felt triumphant, and I did, for about 3 days, because 3 days after taking the throne, Anguojun died 3 days. He was king for 3 days. The news hit me like a rock to the chest. I could not breathe. I could not think. The man who loved me for decades, the man I had built my entire world around, gone. In 3 days. But I did not have time to mourn, not yet, because the throne was empty. And an empty throne is the most dangerous thing in the world. I pulled myself together. I contacted the Mi clan. I contacted Lu Buwei. I contacted every ally I had. We moved fast. We stabilized the court. We silenced the opposition. And we put Zichu on the throne. King Zhuangxiang of Qin, my son, my chess piece, now the king. He honored me as Queen Dowager. He made Lu Buwei his prime minister, and just like that I was at the top. After decades of planning, scheming, crying fake tears, and praying real prayers, I had won. Zichu was a good king. He respected me. He consulted me. He let the Mai clan grow stronger under his rule. Qin conquered more territory. The empire was expanding. The dream of unification was getting closer. But fate was cruel again. Zichu ruled for only 3 years. Then he too fell ill and died. I buried another king, my third,
My son.
After Zichu died, his son took the throne. A boy named Yingzhen, 13 years old. He was too young to rule alone. So the real power fell into the hands of 2 people. Lu Buwei, the prime minister, and Zhao Ji, Yingzhen's birth mother. Zhao Ji was complicated. She had once been Lu Buwei's concubine before being given to Zichu. Her background was low, but her ambition was high. She and Lu Buwei had a relationship that everyone whispered about, but nobody dared mention out loud. And then she took a lover, a man named Lao A, and gave him power he should never have had. Lao A grew bolder and bolder. He acted like he was the ruler. He built his own faction. He even plotted a rebellion. I watched all of this from behind my curtain, and I knew if I did not act, everything I had built would collapse. The Mi clan, the throne, the future of Qin, all of it. So I played my final game. Quietly, I reached out to the ministers who were still loyal to the royal family. I gathered evidence against Lao Ai and Lu Buwei. I waited for the right moment. When Lao A launched his rebellion, I was ready. I stood with Yin Zheng. I helped him coordinate the loyal soldiers. The rebellion was crushed in days. Then I supported Yin Zheng's decision to strip Lu Buwei of his power. The great merchant, the man who started all of this, sent away to the far west to die in exile. Zhao Ji was locked away. Lao Ai was executed, and I became the only authority left in the palace. But I did not make the same mistake that Zhao Ji made. I did not grab for power. I stepped back. I let Yin Zheng grow. I advised him from the shadows, quietly, carefully, the way I had always done. And Yin Zheng, this boy who had no blood connection to me, respected me more than anyone else in his life. Because he knew that without me, his father would never have been king. Without me, he would never have been born into royalty. Without me, there would be no throne to sit on. I watched him grow, from a scared boy into a ruler, from a ruler into an emperor, the greatest emperor China had ever seen. And I thought my choice was right, all those years ago, when I looked at a portrait of a forgotten prince and said yes. That was the moment history turned. In my final years, I let go. I returned to my Huayang palace, the palace that was built just for me. I spent my days drinking tea, watching flowers bloom and die and bloom again, listening to music from Chu, the melodies of my homeland that I had not set foot in for decades. Yin Zheng came to visit me often, every few days. He sat with me. He told me about the court, about his plans, about the wars he was winning, about the lands he was taking, one by one, state by state, getting closer and closer to the dream uniting all of China under one rule. He knew I missed Chu, so he sent people to bring me things from the south. Fruits, tea, silk, and musicians who played the old songs, the ones my mother used to hum. In the year 230 before the Common Era, I knew my time was near. I lay on my bed. Yin Zheng sat beside me. His face, the face of the future first emperor, was tight. His eyes were red. I spoke softly. The words came slowly like water at the end of a river. I said my whole life I was born in Chu and raised in Qin. I watched this kingdom struggle and rise. I never gave birth to a child, but I was lucky enough to become your grandmother, to watch you grow strong, to see Qin become what it was always meant to be. The future of Qin is in your hands now. Remember, uniting the 6 kingdoms was the dream of every king before you. And it is my dream too. But when you sit on that throne, do not forget. Treat the people well, use good men. Make the kingdom last. Yin Zheng knelt by my bed. Tears on his face, he nodded. He promised. I closed my eyes. I was born in Chu, in a house of nobles, where girls learned that their marriages were not about love, they were about survival. I came to Qin with nothing but my name and my education. I married a prince who was not yet a king. I became his favorite. I lost the one thing that mattered most, a child. I stared into the darkness of my future and saw nothing. Then I made a choice, a cold choice, a calculated choice. I found a forgotten boy. I gave him a name. I gave him a home. I gave him a throne. And his grandson united all of China. People will debate whether I was kind or cruel, whether I was a loving mother or a cold strategist, whether I cared about Zichu as a son or as a tool. The truth, both all of it at the same time. Because in the palace, love and strategy are not opposites. They are the same thing. You love the people you choose, and you choose the people who help you survive. And if you are very lucky, the person you choose turns out to be someone worth loving after all. So tonight, let me tell you something. Maybe you are standing at a crossroads. Maybe the path you expected has closed. The thing you counted on, the job, the relationship, the plan, it did not work out. And now you are staring at an empty future, like water without a source. Do not panic. Do not give up. Look around. There is always another path. It might not be the one you imagined. It might require you to be clever, to be patient, to make choices that scare you, to adopt a future you did not give birth to. But if you choose wisely, if you invest in the right people, the right moment, the right dream, you can change everything, not just for yourself, for generations. You do not need to be born powerful. You do not need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep your eyes open. Stay calm. And when the merchant walks through your door with an offer that sounds too good to be true, listen carefully, think slowly, and then decide. Good night, sleep well, and tomorrow make your move. Good night.